Hello, welcome to this week's Express class. We're going to build a little bit on last week. Again, we're going to kind of introduce things again for January to make things a little bit easier as we build back up, but we're going to make it harder than last week, so it won't be as nice. So come on to the hands and knees and we'll get started. So we want to warm the back up. We're going to drop the ribs down to the mat, lift the head up looking up in front, turn the head to the left, bring the left foot out to the side, look at the toes as you push the ribs up to the ceiling, roll the head down, left foot comes in, right foot comes out, look around towards the right foot as you drop the ribs down, lift the head up and right foot comes back in. Turn the head back to the right foot to the side, push the ribs up to the ceiling, roll the head down to the mat, right foot comes in, left foot goes out, look around the left arm as you drop the ribs down, lift the head up as you bring the left foot back in. Perfect. Look down between the fingertips, tuck the elbows in, pull the shoulder blades back and down, lift the knees up off the mat a couple of inches, and we're going to lift the feet up and down, left and right, starting to work the abs. One last one, and then rest the knees down. Perfect. Bring the hips and shoulders to the left, right leg back behind the body, right arm up in front. I told you a little bit harder than last week, we're straight into the difficult ones. Right arm and leg back down, left leg back, left arm up in front, keep the shoulder blades back and down, and keep the left and right hip level. And the same with the shoulders. And arms and legs back down. Perfect. We're going to turn over onto our back now. So, head on our block, knees bent, feet on the mat, imprint the spine. Bring the legs, relax the arms by the side. Bring the legs to tabletop. And nice soft taps, left foot and right foot. Focus on imprinting the spine. Bring the rib cage down and tucking the hips underneath the body. Good. Squeezing the abs just before the toes touch the mat or the heel touches. And then legs back to tabletop and bring the feet down. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to come into a set of hundreds. So hands by the side, reach the hands to the bottom of the mat. We're going to be nice, keep the feet on the mat for the first one. We're going to do second set of hundreds and bring the legs to tabletop afterwards. Reach the hands to the bottom of the mat so the shoulders are pulled away from the ears. Tuck the chin in, imprint the spine and engage the upper abs, squeezing the ribs together. Roll the head and shoulders up and beat the hands 2, 4, 5, breathe out, 2, 4, 5, and breathe in, 2, 4, 5, and out, 2, 4, 5. Keep the shoulder blades back and roll the head and shoulders up, head and chest up as high as you can. Good. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 4, 5, out, 2, 4, 5, in, 2, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you feel you're slipping back, just roll yourself up again a little bit higher. Good. Drop the shoulder blades back, but lift yourself up from the chest. So imagine being dragged up from the centre of your chest, and then rest the head back down. Perfect. So we have the feet down, it's a little bit easier to engage the upper abs. You've got more kind of stable points to work from. As we bring the legs to the tabletop, the abs work more to keep the legs up there. It's harder if you to roll the chest up, so we think a little bit harder this time, but getting the chest and head up nice and high. We don't want to round the shoulders, so don't let the shoulders come around like this. Keep them dropped back. Imprint the spine, legs to tabletop, reach the hands to the bottom of the mat, chin tucked in, roll the head and shoulders up again, and beat the hands 2, 4, 5, breathe out, 2, 4, 5, and in, 2, 4, 5, and out, 2, 4, 5, and in, 2, 4, 5, out, 2, 4, 5, in, 2, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep the shins parallel, so don't let the knees poke out. Keep them together. Good. In, 2, 4, 5, out, 2, 4, 5, in, 2, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 2 breaths, roll yourself up. Good. Last one. Keep the chest and head up. Good, and then rest the head back down and bring the feet down one at a time. So you notice as the head and shoulders or head and chest starts to drop back, just roll yourself up a little bit higher, but don't pull the shoulders in, keep them dropped back. the whole time. Next what we're going to do is straighten the legs down onto the mat, hands back behind the head, arms forward, chin to the chest, roll up nice and tall, push the chest forward to the top, and nice and control back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, good. One more reaching out in front. 5, chest comes forward, nice and controlled back down. We're going to reach up to the ceiling for the next 5. 6, good. 7, keep the shoulders away from the ears and control on the way back down. 8, last 2, arms forward, reaching up, fingers pointing up to the ceiling all the time once the chest comes up off the mat. And last one, imprint the spine, arms forward, rolling up, reaching up, and then back down onto the mat and have a little rest again. Next we're going to do a bit more our lower abs. We're going to bring the legs up towards the ceiling. We're going to do some flutter kicks. So rest the arms by the side, imprint the spine, legs to tabletop, straighten the legs, and just small kicks back and forward. Good. Focus on the imprint. The kicks don't have to be too big, about 7 to 8 inches. And just focus all the time on tucking the hips underneath the body, pushing your low back down into the mat, nice and strong. As the legs kick away, make sure the back doesn't lift and pull the rib cage down at the same time. Good, bend the knees and bring the feet down onto the mat. We're going to come back to the upper abs again. And we're going to go back to the lower abs, so switching back and forward. The next one we're going to come up into teaser. So we're going to imprint the spine, legs to tabletop, hands back behind the head. We're going to roll up onto the back of the hips, keeping the heels off the mat. 1, and then back down. We're going to go for 5, 2, keep the heels off the mat and keep the knees together. 3, poke the chest forward at the top. 4, back down. One last one. Hold yourself there. Chest comes forward. Extend the right leg and the left. 2, 3, 4, 5. Arms parallel to the floor. 6. Shoulders back. 8. Last 2. Last 1. Roll back down onto the mat and bring the feet down and have a little rest again. So we're going to come back to the lower abs again. This time I'm going to straighten the 2 legs to the ceiling and we're going to do a double leg lowers. Again, focusing on the imprint. Make sure the back stays flat. And then after this we're going to do a fun exercise, something a little bit different. Imprint the spine, legs to tabletop, straighten the legs to the ceiling, lower the heels and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one last one, 10. Bend the knees, bring the feet down and straighten the legs down onto the mat. Next we're going to do, hands back behind the head. We're going to roll up into sitting again. Good. And then bend the knees, hands onto the front of the shins, pinch the shoulder blades back and just lean back onto your sacrum. So you're balancing on your hip bones. Bring the elbows out. You're going to tuck the chin in, roll yourself into a ball, roll back and back up onto the hips. Try not to let the feet touch the mat. So chest comes forward at the top, we tuck the chin in, we roll the back and let yourself to roll back up onto the hips and chest comes forward. So some strength here for the upper abs. If you find you come down and you just flatten out, your upper abs aren't strong enough to hold yourself into a ball. So we're trying to train them that with this little bit of momentum, they don't switch off. Chin to the chest, rolling back up, and then balance at the top by sticking the chest forward. Keep the elbows up nice and high. 2 more, chin to the chest, rolling back up, chest comes forward. 1 last one, chin to the chest, rolling back onto the hips, and balancing at the top. Bring the heels onto the mat and rest down. I'm going to move back a little bit on the mat here, and straighten it up as well. I'm going to do a little bit for the hip flexors. So hands either side of the mat, Stick the chest forward, pinch the shoulder blades together. We're going to extend the right leg, lower and lift. 1, 2, 3. So we're working our iliopsoas here, deep inside the abdomen. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and switch legs. So this muscle is deep inside the abdomen. It's one of 2 hip flexors. The other one is your rectus femoris on the front of the quads. It works when the knee is bent. And what this is, if you're sitting down a lot of the time, especially over Christmas, around a table chatting to people on Skype this year, not face to face, what happens is your hip flexors get tight and they can get a little bit weak, and that makes them tighter again. So by strengthening them up, you actually loosen up muscles a lot of the times. A weak muscle is a tight muscle. Bend the left knee. We're going to go back to the right leg. We're going to straighten the right leg. We're going to add a little bit of coordination to these muscles, because a weak muscle, again, it loses its coordination. It acts very blocky. It's big awkward movements rather than having fine little movements. So we're going to work on that. Chest comes forward, shoulder blades are back, straighten the right leg, lower halfway. 5 circles going clockwise. 1, 2, 3. Focus on nice round circles. 4. Pinch the shoulder blades. 5, and change directions. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the right knee, straighten the left leg. We're going to start anti-clockwise. 1, 2, and try to draw the same circle 5 times. 3, 4, 5, and then change directions, and again trace that circle in the opposite direction. 2. So don't make the circles bigger or wider or smaller or thinner. Try to keep them the same circle every time. One last one, and bend the knees and come down. So bring a little bit of focus to the lower traps. I'm going to work on these more probably in February, but I want to bring a little bit of focus to the lower traps now. We're going to pinch the shoulder blades back, lift the 2 heels up, extend the knees and bend. Good. 2. So just putting some weight through the arms. 3. That's again to pinch the shoulder blades. 4, 5. We're working the abs here as well. 6, and the hip flexors. 7, 8, 9. One last one. 10. Bend the knees and rest the feet down. We're going to do one more for the hip flexors, and then we're going to stretch them out. So the last one we're going to do, we're going to extend both legs, lower the 2 of them to the mat, and lift back up. So it's like the double leg lowers, but in this kind of teaser pose position. So some weight back through the hands, pinch the shoulder blades, push the chest forward, tuck the chin in, straighten the 2 legs, lower and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one last one, 10. Bend the knees and rest the feet down. Onto our side, I'm going to stretch out the hip flexors. So we work the iliopsoas, the deep inside the pelvis. We're going to start by stretching the rectus femoris along the front of the thigh. So you can lie down on the mat, you can bring the bottom knee towards your chest, so it rounds the back a little bit, and then you pull the top leg back. And you feel it stretch down the front of the thigh, along here. That's exactly where we want to feel it. Good, and then we'll switch to the opposite side. Again, grabbing the front of the top ankle, bring the bottom knee in towards the chest. So we lock the pelvis in a posterior tilt, so that's where we round the back. And then we want to stretch the leg back. Perfect. And then we're going to stretch the iliopsoas. It's a deep muscle. Now for this, my head disappears off the screen. Maybe just about, it doesn't this time. Imprint the spine, so tuck the hips underneath the body, and then slide the pelvis forward. So you feel it stretching a little higher up along here. If you don't feel it, what's happening is we want to keep our back flat. If you're not feeling it, your back is arching a little bit. So we want to try and flatten the back out as we push the pelvis forward. So we're coming to that posterior tilt again. So posterior tilt works the lower abs, but then stretches out the hip flexors at the front of the pelvis. And then switch legs. So again, tuck the hips underneath the body. So we're looking at a flat back here, and then slide the hips and the pelvis forward. If you're finding you don't feel a stretch with this, you can put your front foot, not on a roller, a little bit down, that's what I have here. You can put your front foot up in a few blocks. That'll lock the pelvis in a posterior tilt, and as you slide forward, standing on some butts with the front leg, you feel a much deeper stretch into that kneeling leg. Good. And then come back to the middle. I'm going to finish with that for today. I hope you enjoyed the class. I'm going to build on a little bit more over the next couple of weeks in January, trying to challenge the abs a little bit more, and I said in February we're going to start to work a little bit more of the back. See you next week. Bye bye.